Good morning. I, again, am Sailor Steve. I'm on the Zaandam and I'm traveling the world. It's a beautiful morning. I'm up in the crow's nest and we're about to meet a fellow passenger. Her name is Beth Davis and we've just met a couple days ago through mutual friends, but I found her interesting and I found her somebody like me who believes in travel. And so what better way to help my audience understand why it is that I love living at sea. So let me just switch the camera back and in just a moment introduce Beth Davis. Good morning, Beth. Beth Davis, I am pleased to have you be interviewed by me, and we're just going to have a conversation. This will be part of a video that goes on YouTube and Facebook and whatever, mostly to my friends, but I'll even encourage you to share it too. We'll take a look at it afterwards and whatever. But good morning.
Good morning.
Beth, tell me where you're from.
Well, right now I'm from Buckeye, Arizona, but spent 43 years in Idaho. That's kind of where my professional career was.
That's what. And you've become a cruiser. How long have you been cruising the seas?
Started kind of in my late 40s after the kids were gone. Had a little bit more money to spend on that.
Sure.
So we've been on 50 cruises so far.
50 cruises, that's more than me. What would you say to all your friends who ask you, oh my God, you go on so many cruises, why?
You know, when it first started out, it was because we lived in the cold country, North Idaho. Many years in a small town called Kamiah, then up to Coeur d'Alene, which is close to Spokane. And my husband used to say, we're buying sunshine. So a lot of our first cruises were to get out of the cold. Because I worked in education, I usually had Christmas off, spring break. Those were good times to get out of the cold. So bought a lot of sunshine.
Tell me about some of the places you've cruised to. Probably a lot of Caribbean cruises.
A lot of Caribbean cruises, but several times to Alaska, Panama Canal 3 times, in different ways, you know, going east to west, west to east, partial transit. We did the Grand Asia, which was our longest cruise ever. Voyage of the Vikings. We've done the transatlantic a couple times, the Mediterranean, and now the Grand Africa.
It's amazing, isn't it? You say the Grand Asia. Tell me about the Grand Asia. I mean, it sounds cool, but what does that mean?
Well, for me, it meant I didn't have to do a long flight. I'm not really into long flights. So living in Arizona now, we just could fly to San Diego and get on the ship and then make that whole circle, you know, up to Alaska, Japan, China, Vietnam, so many countries, down to Australia, New Zealand, Samoa, lots of islands, back through Hawaii, and then back to San Diego. So all places I really wouldn't have seen if I'd had to fly.
I remember that cruise is called the Ring of Fire, right? You remember that?
Yes.
How the volcanoes in that part of the world created a circle.
Right.
So, wow, that is the Grand Asia, yeah. What year did you take that voyage in?
I believe it was 2018.
2018? Some good memories?
Great memories and things that surprised me a lot. I didn't realize that I would love Japan as much as I did. I love Japan. I thought it was very civilized, very clean, very friendly, some beautiful scenery. I just had no idea about all these cultures. You know, it's one thing to watch Nova or to watch specials on TV. It's totally different to see it with your own eyes. That's my feeling.
Absolutely. We get in our cabins a quote of the day from the captain, and one of the quotes, I'm hoping I can remember exactly how it was worded, but it touched me so much because it talks about traveling being a book, an educational experience and whatever, and if you don't travel, you just read one page of the world, and the world is full of pages and whatever, and so it opens up that book to us and whatever. Well, I know we've talked before about the love of travel and whatever, but I'm curious about hobbies that you came on board with, or interests that you came on board, aside from, what was the expression you used? Buying sunlight or sunshine? That's a wonderful expression. But I think there's something else that you have as an interest you share with your husband.
I do. My husband's a wildlife biologist. So, so my life has been different from a lot of people's in that I've experienced so much of his knowledge and interest. One is birding. He was actually a big game biologist, so his work took place in Idaho. Elk, moose, deer, bear, but he loves all kinds of critters, you know, snakes, lizards, things that turn people off, bugs. And if you're going to be married to a guy like that, you better learn to be flexible. But birding has been fabulous for us, and being able to go to different countries, you know, and then see the unique birds and the habitats, and so that's one hobby I share with him. I'm also a little musically inclined, so a couple times I brought my ukulele, and there have been people that have been on board, and we've gotten together, and I picked that up a little later in life, but it was just fun. I mean, it's not something you really even have to be good at.
Sure.
Just enjoy it. So
You know, I looked up birding because I was curious about, you know, when you first were introduced to me, you said you were a birder.
Yeah.
And I looked that up, and I also learned about the word twitching. Twitcher? You know what a twitcher is?
Well, I don't, so explain
Well,
that.
a twitcher apparently is named after an Englishman who suffered, I think it was multiple sclerosis or something, whatever, but the point was he would seek to find birds that he hadn't seen before. So I'm curious if that's something that you try and do and keep a journal of,
Sure.
of looking for
It's
certain
like your
types
life,
of birds.
your life list of birds.
Life list of birds, yeah.
And there are several apps out there that are free that will help you keep your life list, track where you've been. One free app that your readers might be or your viewers might be interested in, it's called Merlin, like Merlin the Magician. Totally free, but it's a wonderful app.
Thank you again so much, Beth Davis. We've shared, I think, an attitude of meeting new people and seeing where conversations go and all, and so I really appreciated the time you took to visit with me, and I look forward to what's going to happen tomorrow. Not sure what we're going to do for next week, but I'll be thinking about it now, and I hope anyone who views this, whatever, might send me a comment or a suggestion in terms of what would be of interest to them to learn about when it's an adventure living at sea. Again, Sailor Steve, I'm on the Zaandam, run by Holland America Lines, and we're off the coast of Africa, East Africa actually. We're heading to Dar es Salaam, which is our next port visit in the country of Tanzania. Tanzania is a relatively new country. It's only about 40 years old. It was a combination of two countries prior, Zanzibar and Tanganyika, that came together, that gained their freedom from countries in Europe that actually had colonized them at one point in history. And so Tanzania is our next stop. Dar es Salaam, not the capital, but it's the largest city in that country. And so they'll be in the planning for the next video. For now, again, Sailor Steve saying goodbye. Thanks a lot for viewing. Share it with your friends.